excited. Following last night's win over the Nuggets, LeBron James was also asked about the idea of having an all-star game. LeBron, the floor is yours.
I have zero energy and zero excitement about an all-star game this year. I don't even understand why we're having an all-star game. Short off season for myself and my teammates with 71 days. And then coming to this season, we were told that we were not having an all-star game. So we had a nice little break, 5 days from the 5th through the 10th, an opportunity for me to kind of recalibrate for the second half of the season, my teammates as well, some of the guys in the league. And then they throw an all-star game on us like this and just breaks that all the way up. So pretty much kind of a slap in the face.
Stephen A., should there be an NBA All-Star game played this season?
Respectfully speaking, I would say no. I don't disagree with what LeBron James had to say. Now, I would say I find it a bit perplexing that last time I checked, he definitely is first vice president of the NBA Players Association, unless something has changed and I missed it. If I did, I apologize, because I don't pay too much attention to that portion of things. I know Chris Paul is the president. Him and LeBron are very tight. They've known each other for years, and why they don't seem to be on the same page, I don't understand it, because the NBPA, led by Chris Paul and executive director Michelle Roberts, have been negotiating, and the anticipation is that there will be an all-star game March 7th in Atlanta, Georgia. And that last part is where I definitely side with LeBron James in this respect. Why Atlanta? In the state of Georgia, we all recognize the fact that safety protocols and things of that nature in regards to COVID-19 have been a bit lax compared to places like California, New York, and various other places throughout the United States of America. That's why LeBron James used the word open to describe what kind of environment exists there. Fans are still coming in attendance, not to full capacity, obviously, or anything like that. But things are relatively open in Georgia. Businesses are open. People walking the streets. Folks are being accused of not paying as much attention to COVID-19 as some experts, some scientists, some medical professionals would prefer. We've all talked about this. We've all lamented it. So when LeBron brings that up and he's talking about, the superstars of the NBA descending upon one locale, why would it be that? And the fact that is a question that he has makes it incredibly legitimate. He brought up the 71 days off. I understand for him, and I empathize with him because he's the champion and he was the last one standing, Max. But I don't empathize with the rest of the NBA in regards to that. You had a 4-month break from the time the season was suspended in March because of COVID-19 until you came back in July. When you came back in July, most of y'all were going by August, if not early September. So I don't want to hear that as an argument for the league itself. For LeBron, yes. For the rest of the league, no. But when it comes to what he brought up about COVID-19, safety protocols, lack of attention to detail as it pertains to that emanating from the state of Georgia and specifically the city of Atlanta, he brings that up. It's hard to argue with that point that he's making. That much I will say. So I can't say I disagree with him, and I can't say that his points are invalid. I wouldn't have handled it the way De'Aaron Fox handled it by calling it stupid, because remember, Chris Paul and the Players Association are talking about how this is going to benefit HBCUs, revenue generated from it is going to benefit HBCUs, and COVID-19 relief. So it's definitely a worthy cause, and that shouldn't be ignored. And guys like De'Aaron Fox, who were not playing deep into the postseason, obviously, because they didn't make the postseason.
And are very young.
And are very young. I don't want to hear that. But for LeBron, I totally understand where he's coming from.
This is a debate show. But in this case, we're not going to just manufacture debate, because we see this largely the same way. You used the word perplexing. It is perplexing because my understanding is Chris Paul pushed for this. Mm-hmm. So if Chris Paul is pushing for it, Stephen A., is it possible that it took LeBron James unawares? I don't think so. You would think that if Chris Paul is pushing for it, it would be on LeBron James's radar, but I guess we'll find out about that. When I heard De'Aaron Fox's comments, I'm like, calm down. It's stupid to have an all-star game, play the all-star game. But such is LeBron James's status in the sport that when he starts complaining, I start thinking, wait a minute. He practically speaks for the players. Mm-hmm. You hear players on other teams saying, if LeBron does something, and what's interesting to me here is the NBA and the Players Union have really shown the rest of the sports world what cooperation looks like through this entire pandemic. They've been really good partners. So when LeBron airs this grievance publicly, he's saying, short off season, compact season. We were told we were going to get 5 games off in the middle, and now all of a sudden that's taken away. It sounds like it surprised him. And what I'm interested in finding out is that possible? Is that what happened? Because his relationship with Chris Paul has been such that if Chris Paul is indeed, as I've heard, one of the forces behind the All-Star game being played, were he and LeBron at odds behind closed doors? And this is how LeBron's responding? I think more reporting has to come out, on this topic.
Well, I will say this. Where the NBA, if he's absent, and it appears he is, the NBA doesn't have a leg to stand on in one respect. If you told them there wasn't going to be an All-Star game, and now you've changed your mind.
Unilaterally.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
But it seems like if Chris Paul's pushing for it, the NBA's perception is this is not unilateral. Our partners want to do this.
That's fair. That's fair. You're right. And that's something that, I got to ask Chris Paul about that, because that's an answer. That's an answer that we all need to know. Because, again, if LeBron doesn't know about it, that doesn't make any sense. Or if LeBron did know about it and he's just in staunch disagreement with Chris Paul, and Chris Paul is moving forward anyway, and all of this is at the behest of Chris Paul, because obviously HBCUs are incredibly important to him. And in the interest of full disclosure, myself as well, Chris Paul and I are collaborating on a project in regards to HBCUs. I mean, both of us are executive producing a project. It's coming up in a couple of weeks or so. So definitely, I'm sensitive to that. I understand it. I completely support anything that's going to help.
What's the project? Can you talk about
it? Why Not Us? It's a project that's going to we're going to focus on a basketball program at North Carolina Central University. And Coach Moten, who's a fabulous coach and a great statesman for the game of basketball. But we're just going to highlight some of the challenges that take place in an HBCU program. And it's going to be airing later this month. It's going to be several episodes to it, like 6 or 7 different episodes. And so we're looking forward to doing that. And both of us are executive producers on that project. I would just tell you that those things are incredibly important, and I applaud if that's the agenda, obviously to garner interest or what have you in HBCUs and COVID-19 relief. But in the same breath that I say that, LeBron disagreeing with him is one thing. LeBron being blindsided by something in this entirely different matter. And if neither is the truth, and this is really about something that the NBA wants, and it's inconsistent with what the NBA initially told them before the season started, then you can understand where LeBron is coming from. And that's what appears to be the case.
The reason
I don't know, because I haven't spoken to anybody about it.
More reporting,
right?
Is that De'Aaron Fox, and you pointed it out, is one case. Very different from LeBron. De'Aaron Fox is a young star who does not play deep into the season. Once the season's over, he's going home, right? Mm-hmm. And if he does get to the playoffs, he ain't going to last for long. So that part of the players' union, because not everyone in the players' union has the exact same interest. They're not a monolith. People have different interests depending on where they are in their career. But a guy like De'Aaron Fox says, I don't want this. And a dude on the opposite end of the spectrum, LeBron, who's been around forever and plays deep into the playoffs every year, also doesn't want it. That suggests, at least on the surface, that the union, that various members of the union with different interests didn't want it, and there may be a schism in the union about that issue.
Yeah. And we don't know. And like I said, I haven't spoken to, so this is one of those rare occasions when it comes to the NBA. I don't know any more than you, because I haven't spoken to anybody about this as of yet, because I just saw the sound from LeBron last night. I didn't call anybody this morning, so I don't know about it. But all of those things are legitimate questions.
Only thing I've heard is that Chris Paul was pushing for this.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know that. I will talk to Chris Paul eventually. I will ask him about that, because that's something we all need to know, because it will really, really define, whether LeBron is right or wrong on this matter in terms of how things were handled, in terms of the information that he's received and the timing upon which he received those nuggets of information.
Yeah. This is when you really understand both sides, why the players wouldn't want it to happen, obviously, why the NBA would. We'll continue to keep you up to speed on the details regarding the All-Star game. But, guys, we got plenty more football to talk about. Super Bowl, yes, it is this Sunday.